Hello all, and I don't know. I was bored, pretty much, and I don't know. There's this. I thought I would come on here and see if I could ramble and 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 I don't know. Maybe make some sense. I don't know, because I'm not big on editing. I would much rather be a conscious thought instead of a bunch of little, okay, we're going to talk about this, and then I'm going to stop so I can do my homework, and then come back and then talk about this, and then talk about this, and then, memorize a script so that I keep cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting until we're done. And that's, to me, no fun, because I think conscious thought makes a lot more sense. But that's just me, and I'm sure some of you are already bored. But, I just thought I would I don't know, talk about wrestling in general, I guess. Well, not wrestling in general. Maybe more just WWE. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where this goes. Because, I've been watching, I've been watching wrestling forever. And, my daughter, my stepdaughter, who most of you, have seen in the last couple of videos I've done, um, she likes it because once me and her mom got married, and I'd watch some stuff and she would kind of watch it and she kind of got into it. Um, and it's something, my wife kind of enjoys. And so come Monday, if there's really nothing on and it's something we all kind of do together. Even though I'm usually at some point turned out, it helps that, especially when Joe comes back, that helps because it's something I look forward to and something I can watch because I'm such a Samoa Joe fan. But other than that, Raw's 3 hours of the same crap that it always is. And it's funny because I was telling somebody that, because they were like, well, how many hours of television really is there? And then when you include the network, a week of WWE television, there's just so freaking much. Not even, when you start adding everything in, and it's kind of ridiculous, really, especially since they really don't do. I mean, they do filler matches, but they don't really do like filler matches. We don't get a lot of like. I know people don't like it when you compare New Japan and WWE, but there are elements that I think, and I've said this before, that I think WWE could take from New Japan, particularly when you're talking about like the undercard matches of a New Japan show, which has a bunch of 6-mans, tag teams, the not as good buddies of the better guys taking on the guy that the buddy is feuding with type matches that lead to something else, or that is part of the factions, within New Japan and all of that, which all lead to something, which allow you to kind of spread out things. And I kind of wish WWE would do that sort of stuff more on Raw and SmackDown. I think it works better. I think it allows you not to, you're not to like the pay-per-view and you've already seen guys have or 2 or 3 matches already, and this is the third, and it's not going to be the end of the feud. It's probably just going to be the start of the feud, and you're going to see them wrestle another 10 times on TV. And it's like, why do you even bother? Why do I even care? Because on top of that, it's just, it's one guy beating another guy, because wins and losses don't matter. And it just doesn't, it doesn't work. And you can say wins and losses don't matter, but you look at Braun Strowman and you look at the fact of how they protected him and all this stuff, and the fact that he's not Roman Reigns, which is a big part of the reason why he's over, because he's this big dude who they want to push, but he's not Roman Reigns. And I think fans see him as a guy who, well, he could take Roman Reigns' spot, and we don't like Roman Reigns, but we like him, so that works. I've heard people talk about the fact that maybe it's just that the fans have changed and now they want big dudes, and fans always want big dudes. They want big dudes who are good, but the problem is you often don't get big dudes who are good, or even in some cases okay, and so you're left with guys you don't want. They're big, but they aren't any good. There's much better guys who are smaller, but they're far better. They're more entertaining. There's no redeeming qualities about these dudes other than they're big. Baron Corbin is a good example of that right now. I mean, there's what redeeming quality is there of his? And we just came off of the pay-per-view, and it's a very, I mean, it's been no secret that they want to do Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the title at WrestleMania, which to me is this is going to be like the fourth WrestleMania in a row where we're going to get a main event. I think it's the fourth in a row that we're not going to get any sort of main event that we really want. We're just going to get the match that Vince wants to give us. And I mean, you can do that now with the network because it really doesn't matter because pay-per-view doesn't matter. Though I would imagine that, and when you're talking about WrestleMania, really it's the live gate. And it makes me wonder how many of, these WrestleManias they can put on that like they put on the last few years where it's just like, they're just kind of okay. I mean, it's still WrestleMania. It's still WrestleMania weekend, and I think people are going to go because it's the weekend itself. And as much as WWE tries to get they don't want anybody else there. I think they're at the point where they kind of need everybody else there because if you don't have everybody else there, are people really going to go? I mean, are you going to be able to put on a Hall of Fame that people are actually going to want to go to in any sorts of numbers? Are you going to be able to keep NXT somewhat relevant? I mean, they're having problems with that already. And I don't mean that like, they came off as, like they're like NXT's in trouble. I just mean like you can see kind of the stuff on the wall, and it's frustrating. And the fact that WWE doesn't have any real competition. I mean, a lot of us will watch New Japan, but New Japan's not real competition for WWE. Ring of Honor, as long as Sinclair doesn't put any money into Ring of Honor, they're never going to be a real competition. I mean, the fact that WWE can hurt Ring of Honor simply through signing guys to NXT and having Evolve basically keep guys that they don't want in NXT out of Ring of Honor, with that carrot of well, you come and wrestle for Evolve, and that's kind of a pathway into WWE. The fact that that's enough to kind of keep Ring of Honor at bay says everything you need about Ring of Honor. GFW TNA, whatever the fuck it's calling itself now. I haven't watched any of that, and I can't remember when, years, and that's never going to be anything. I love Lucha Underground, but Lucha Underground is probably dead, so that doesn't do anything. I mean, there is no competition per se, and I think that's very frustrating because the WWE isn't very good. The fact that we are in a time of TV where an okay TV show is written so well it's not even funny. And here's WWE going, oh, storylines don't matter, history doesn't matter, none of this stuff matters. And it does, because TV's evolved, and at the very least you have to keep up with that stuff, and you can't talk down to your fan base. Your fan base is going to go away. You're down to the hardcore of the hardcores now, that are going to the shows. They're not going to, they're kind of going to the house shows, but not really. You're because of the way you set up the network and with WrestleMania, what you rely heavily on WrestleMania is the live gate. And if magically people go, well, we're tired of you not giving us what we want, and they stop going, what is that going to do? Especially if, the new TV deal happens. And I mean, they're surviving right now off of TV deals. I mean, that's what, all the other, stuff that pro wrestling evolves, don't get me wrong, but that they've been surviving on because everything else is not that good business wise. It's just the TV deals. And what happens if the TV deal, isn't nearly as good and they have to start relying on are they magically going to be able to flip a switch? I don't think so. They weren't able to do that in the 90s, and it took them forever to do that in the 90s. And it's it's hard to watch. Where I can watch. I watched the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. I hadn't watched it. I don't get to watch Ring of Honor TV that much. And it was an easy enough show to watch. I was very disappointed in the main event because I'm a huge Suzuki fan. I'm not the biggest Cody fan, but on the flip side of that, I'm glad that he's having some success so that he can show people in WWE that maybe are better than him that you can have some good success outside of WWE. You don't have to rely, and you're not, a slave to them. And there are other options. Maybe you'll have to work a little hard, and you can't rest on your laurels. But so what? If you really love pro wrestling, I think that's possible. Honestly, think of what in the world of pro wrestling, and you take New Japan kind of out of that. And that's going to be hard with what I'm about to say because New Japan probably has a lot to do with what I'm about to say. What are you really looking forward to? I think you talk to people, and what they're looking forward to is next year and what Daniel Bryan does, and it's kind of like, and that there's that bittersweetness of, do you want to see him leave and if he's not healthy enough, still go out and wrestle, or do and we don't know that part of it, but um and if he goes somewhere, is he going to make a difference? Or is it just going to be like every other guy that leaves WWE and it really doesn't matter? I hope not. I hope if he leaves, I hope it makes a difference. I hope WWE has to kind of acknowledge, if he's healthy and if all of that, and he becomes this huge draw outside of WWE, that they fucked up. I get why. I get why the fact that, but even before that, even the idea before all of that happened, that you've got Roman Reigns, who you are sticking to, and it's not like John Cena. John Cena, when he first came up, people liked him. People liked him. I can remember when he was in FCW, and the hardcore of the hardcores, they knew John Cena was going to be a big deal. They could see it, all of that, and John Cena. It's always been more of how WWE uses him, not John Cena himself, because there's no doubt that how skilled John Cena is and how good John Cena is. It's more of everything else, the fact of how he's been pushed, the fact that he's been the top guy for so long, the fact that the super Cena, everything that goes along with it, and the fact that WWE hasn't built anybody else and seems to, this, that, and the other, I think hurts. And then you've got Roman Reigns, and they see, and the fans see him as Cena 2.0, and they're like, no more of this. We're done. Just give us something that at least makes us feel like we're not being talked down to, and we have some decision in the ranks. Because what if WWE always says, oh, if you can get over with the fans, then it doesn't matter. Well, guys get over with the fans all the time, and WWE's like, well, you're not the guy we wanted over, so fuck you. And it's like, really? It's counterproductive, to say the least, and it's very frustrating. And the thing is this is at a time when there's probably more good wrestling out there than there's probably, and people have access to it more than they ever had in history. Probably too much, to be honest, because guys can, you could watch 4 matches from 4 different promotions of the same guy in a week, and maybe even taking on the same guy. I don't know how good that is. I don't know, it kind of makes you like, I've seen that already. But I don't know. I think I've probably rambled enough. It's been about 15 minutes, but it's becoming very frustrating to become I think it's hard because you want to see that WWE's number one, so you want to see them do well, and they're not, and it's very, very frustrating. You want to see everybody do well. I think back to what was that, 2 years ago, I think, when the Powerball here in the United States, the lottery, got to like People thought it was going to be $1 billion, but it wound up being a little bit. I think it was like $1.1 billion, is what it wound up being. And you got to think to yourself, if you won that, what would you do with it? And I thought to myself, you know what? It would be kind of cool if you could go in and waste the money, and you'd be wasting the money. Don't get me wrong. And because you would have enough money, or you could do this and kind of have a little, I'm gonna waste a bunch of money on this, and buy Ring of Honor from Sinclair, and buy Lucha Underground you buy Ring of Honor for the name and the history and all of that. You buy Lucha Underground for the contracts, and you buy TNA, GFW, whatever the fuck, basically for the TV slots, internationally, and then try, and then see if you could, get on a, real station, find out what a better station than whatever they're all on, what they would demand, and try to give it to them, and try to make a go of it, and really try to, pay guys well, and try to maybe get some guys from WWE that, are tired of being there and all of that sort of stuff. It would be nice if somebody could do that, but again, who's going to want to do that? Because it's hard enough to get, unless it's USA, no one really wants to put on pro wrestling. So it's like, what are you going to do? I don't know. But I just thought I would come on here and ramble a little bit. So I did. So later.